Okay guys, welcome back to Better Developer Docs. In this video, I'm going to talk about optimizing your WordPress site for page speed, especially at mobile. And in this particular video, I'm going to talk about further reducing requests to the server. In the previous video, I also talked about reducing requests, and I used a tool called, or a plugin called Asset Cleanup Plugin, to figure out which plugins were causing uh, unnecessary requests on the page and therefore slowing down my page load time. So in the last video, before optimizing, I had around 53 requests. And after optimizing the plugins, I got it down to 24, and I saw a significant page load decrease. However, I think there's more that I can get out of reducing requests. There's more load time that I can reduce it by. And the reason why I think that is because I'm also running a test. I use two different tools to test page speed. So I like to cross-reference because they give different information. So in my previous test with Google Page Speed Insights, I got 38 out of 100 on mobile. And this was after reducing the requests to 24 from 53. So, and it's telling me that I've got unused JavaScript. The server response time was slow. It's saying I've got unused CSS. It's saying I've got render blocking resources. Also says I need to do something about minification. So the problem with Google Page Speed is that sometimes the messages that it gives you will be kind of vague, and you need to understand what these things mean. These are developer level kind of phrases. And so you need to kind of understand what they mean and how to sort of figure out how you can progress forward with reducing these things based on the sort of the vague information that they give you. So that's what we're going to do in this plugin, is we're going to troubleshoot these kind of vague messages from Google PageSpeed. The other thing that you might find is that the troubleshooting that we do here in this video might reveal that the slow nature of the feedback from Google PageSpeed is probably being caused by a plugin that we want or require on the page. And so sometimes what we need to do is to identify the plugin and actually change to a different plugin instead of removing the plugin like we did in the last video. So yeah, let's carry on. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can try and figure out where to go with these messages. So it's saying that you can save a whole second by reducing unused JavaScript. And it does mention a few files here. And so by looking at these, I can understand what they are. So this, I'm using a reCAPTCHA plugin to increase security. reCAPTCHA is the software that presents robot checks to you before you fill out a form or add a comment or something like that. So it says reCAPTCHA underscore en.js. So potentially that is a file which I need to deal with. And it also says that I've got Google Tag Manager in there, which is slowing down the site ever so slightly. Also says that I've got jQuery. I happen to know that these two things are unavoidable. Our site theme needs jQuery, and therefore we need to keep that in there. Otherwise, the theme isn't going to work well, or even vaguely. I need Google Tag Manager because I need to track all of my visits and stuff like that, so that I can optimize it in the monetize it in the future. And then, but this one reCAPTCHA, I suspect what I'm going to need to do is uninstall the plugin, which is causing this JavaScript to be brought in, and then retest to see if that was the solution. So let's go and do that. Let's go over to plugins. We're going to go to install plugins, and we're going to find reCAPTCHA. So I've actually got two of them. This is the one that's currently active, so I'm going to deactivate that. And then I'm going to clear all my caches. Whenever I make a change to my website and I want to test in the page speed in these tools, then I need to clear all the different caches that I have. So I'm going to clear the cache for asset cleanup. I'm going to clear this cache, which I think is from the server. And then I've also got a CDN, which I'm using. So I'm going to clear that cache as well. If you've been following along with these videos, you're also going to want to purge your CDN. And then it's going to say that it needs to give us 30 seconds in order to have these changes take effect. So I'm going to wait that 30 seconds because I need my testing to be accurate. But in the meantime, we can talk about what results we had previously. This is the previous score that I got from my last video after reducing the requests from 53 to 24. I saw approximately a 0.55 second decrease in load time. I saw a slight decrease in page size, but the main result from the last video was that we reduced this by approximately 29 requests. And that's why we got that lower page speed. The same website, the same page under the same conditions got a 38 out of 100. And so now we're going to retest in a new page so that I can see or compare the results to the previous tests. So I'm going to click analyze there. We should have gone past our 30 seconds, so our cache should be fresh. And I'm just going to give this a second in order to load up. And so hopefully we will see an increase from 38. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we actually saw. Okay, so something's not right. I think the cache didn't quite refresh because we actually removed this by removing the plugin. So what I'm going to do is just empty the cache and hard read load. I'm actually going to hit analyze on that again. So I think what's happening there, the reason why we're not seeing improvement in the page speed is because Google Page Speed Insights is still referencing an old version of the site. I've actually uninstalled this plugin. So we actually shouldn't be seeing that. So I'm going to consider that an anomaly. So we actually see that we got a lower score, 29 out of 100 compared to 38. And I believe the reason for that is because Google hasn't been able to access the new version of the site after I uninstalled the plugin because the reCAPTCHA is still coming through. Um, However, this is one good reason why I cross-reference the site with the PageSpeed test with this tool as well. We can see that the requests have gone down by 11 and our page load time has come down and our page size has come down significantly. So we used to have 760 as a page size and 24 as a request. And by removing that plugin, we've actually halved the amount of requests and wow, really significantly got the page size down. So we know that removing that was a good thing in respect to page speed. But Google Page Speed Insights obviously is having a little bit of difficulty um, testing the updated version of the site. So I'm going to consider this score 29 as an anomaly and just carry on. Um, but yeah, that's the reality of using these tools is that the values are estimates, and they do sometimes vary. So for now, I'm gonna consider that a success based on this test and Pingdom over here, and I'm going to move on. So the next thing to consider is that I could just remove the reCAPTCHA plugin and take the page speed improvements. However, um, a reCAPTCHA plugin is quite a useful plugin, and so I actually don't want to remove that one because I'm going to reduce um, my security on the site. So a reCAPTCHA plugin helps you to avoid having bots fill out your forms and add comments and stuff like that. So bots are the things doing most of the hacking these days, and you want to reduce the amount of bots that you have on your site. So um, I want to keep a reCAPTCHA plugin. However, I now know that this particular plugin is not necessarily the most optimized plugin for the job. Um, so when you're in a situation where you know that one of the plugins you have is causing a slowdown in your page speed, however, that plugin is one that you want. You have a couple of different options. You can remove the plugin altogether. However, then you lose the functionality that you want. So in this particular case, the only other option is to find another plugin which is not so inefficient. So what I did was I went onto the Reddit WordPress group and I asked people what reCAPTCHA plugin they're using. And then I went away and started to use this one called HCAPTCHA. And so what I'm going to do now is install that one. And then I'm going to clear everything there in our caches. We'll clear that one as well just to make sure. Then I'm going to go to settings and and purge this cache as well. And it says it's going to give me 30 seconds before the Okay, so where was I? Okay, so in order to find another plugin, I went to Reddit WordPress group and I asked what plugins were being used, and someone suggested to me that I could use Recapture by Best Websoft because it was more efficient, however, would still allow me to have the recapture functionality. So I'm going to install that. And I'm going to just going to add these settings, save changes. So I'm going to save settings, and then I'm going to purge all of the different caches. And then it's gonna take 30 seconds for those changes to propagate to the public facing website. So I'm just going to wait 30 seconds. Okay, so our 30 seconds is up. So I'm going to reanalyze this website, and we will see what improvements have been made. Although we're probably going to see a slight decrease in improvement from the previous scores here on Pingdom. And that's because this set of 11 requests and this load time and this page size was when we didn't have any reCAPTCHA plugin working at all. And now we actually do have one. However, it's more efficient. So we're kind of going for a happy medium of page speed versus functionality. Okay, so we can see that we've increased our requests by 11. We've increased our page size by a significant amount. We've still got a fairly low page load time. But yeah, as I say, this is an in-between kind of balancing act of page speed versus um, functionality and security. The last one, we're just going to go back and have a look here. So we've got a score of 72, and I suspect that's because we were able to, Google PageSpeed Insights was able to actually accurately see the website this time. Yeah, so we're getting a much better score here. We've removed a bunch of these opportunities last since the last test. You can see that a couple of these have dropped off the list, and we're getting a much better result on mobile, being 72. Yeah, Google PageSpeed does vary, and I believe the 38 or 29 or whatever it was, I think it was 29 that we just had here before, was probably just an anomaly. So um, we're quite happy with 72. 72 from the original 24 or so that we got in video number one is quite a significant page speed improvement on mobile. And we can see we're getting 97 there. So yeah, we've opted for a balance of security and functionality versus page speed, because we have to balance those sometimes. So cool. So that's all we're going to do for this particular video. It's a little bit messy. You can see that like you kind of get into these scenarios where the testing tool isn't quite accurate all the time. You've got caches to refresh. You can see how it gets a little bit messy sometimes, but in those situations, try to understand the first principles, which are decrease the page size and decrease the requests, and you will inevitably get a better performance here, even though these testing tools and caches and stuff like that might be kind of messing with your particular score. But yeah, the other thing is just like have a hunt around and try to be a little bit investigative when you're interpreting the information they give here. If they mention something that relates to a plugin, then you know that that's an area to go and investigate. Uninstall that plugin, go and test again. Use the first principles kind of approach of understanding page size and requests and their effect on page load time. And yeah, we'll leave it at that for this one. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to reduce your page even further, your page load time, because we're still getting reduce unused JavaScript and reduce unused CSS. And these things can be optimized as well. There's quite a bit more legwork involved in it, But I'll leave a card for that next video up in the top right hand corner. And I'm also going to leave another card for another video that I'm going to do, which is showing you a raw, unedited version of this process, because there's actually a lot of nuance in and troubleshooting involved in doing this process, and settings to be tweaked, plugins and retesting and all that sort of stuff. So I'm gonna create a longer video which will give you a better idea of the actual troubleshooting that is involved in this process. But yeah, thanks guys, and we'll catch you in the next video.